Okay, let's move on to the next question. Josh, looks like you've had your hand up for a while, brother. You got to go ahead and unmute if you're still with us.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How's it going, man?
Oh, same old, same old. So my question is relating to either the 1040 or the 1041, no matter which. Is it going to play a role if I have done a 14039?
What's a 14039 again?
It's the identity theft, getting the IRS to audit my account all the way back to 18 years of age.
Okay, let me ask you this back. When was the last time you filed or reported?
So 2023 was for the individual or for the person, and I did a 1041 for 2021 just recently.
Okay, so trust and social, so 2023. Did you, when you filed, did you get mailed a P10 number? Sorry, it's a P10, I think,
It's
for
an
people who've had an
IPPIN.
identity theft happen.
So I set that up myself on irs.gov. I went in and logged in. And I got an IPPIN for
Okay.
that purpose. Yes.
And they ask you to use that whenever you're filing for the current tax year filing so that they can verify that only you get to use that key because you've had some suspicious activity happen with your identity, but only you get to use that key and only you get to report using that key. And that's how they can verify that you're the one.
Well, I did the IPPIN after I had done any other filings or returns, what have you. So I have not submitted anything with the IPPIN because everything else was already done.
That's fine. You're good. You're golden.
Okay, so to follow up with that, since I have done the 1044 2021, and with my trust and all that set up now, I've done the 1041 for 2021 as well. Is there a recommendation from you on either the 40 or the 41 ES, being I've done both for 2021 anyway?
It's never going to, the only thing, if you were to do 1041's ESs for the trust returns, it could kick those into gear because you've actually brought liquidity to a dehydrated account or a year. If you sent the ESs in, especially if it's a past year, it could actually kick those into triggering a payment for you. Did you do an OID?
No, I did not do an OID because, to be honest with you, I was a little hesitant. When I did the 41, I just did the Bs and some local standards on the
That's
41.
okay. You did a B. Did it show you that you were going to get a return back?
So they did accept everything. I think I may have jumped the gun and done the 1041 a little early. I didn't receive any kind of transcripts or nothing like that from the IRS. So I'm waiting to hear. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks since I submitted the 41 with the Bs and the local standards.
Okay.
So I haven't heard either.
How did you file the 1041? Paper?
No, I did it on taxact.com.
Tax Act. Okay. Did it show that you were due a return on Tax Act when you electronically filed?
Yes.
And you downloaded the FE document and you signed it and you uploaded it back, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So it said you were due back a return. Okay, that's good. That's very
Except
good.
it's not an IRS, yeah.
Okay. So it's about 3 weeks for those to come in the mail. So you're golden with that. If you don't get a check here in the near future, you could kickstart that return possibly by attaching your 1041 ESs, 1041B, 1040B, 1041B. I think Is there a 1041B? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
now I'm
Yes, there is. 100%.
okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so 1041B, kickstart it, put that, and I would send it registered mail if you know how to do that.
Yes.
Okay, and green card receipt return. Okay. I know it takes a while, but let me tell you guys something about the post office while we're under martial law. Their scanners are able to scan 13-ish 13 pages, but think about thick bond paper. So if it's regular paper, it's probably about 50 pages. If it's bond paper, it's about 13 stacks of bond paper. Their scanners can scan through 13 pages of bond paper and pick up every color of ink. And this is where the medallion stamp comes in. Medallion stamp, based on the color, determines the accessible value of the stamp color, the medallion stamp. Okay, it's usually done for bonds and stuff like that. So why did I say that? When you send it registered mail, when you send it through the mail at all, even though it takes longer for the registered mail to get there, they've already scanned the whole document to see the colors of ink that are in there because they're accounting. Post office and bank. Post office is the bank for bonds and securities, right? Think about it. Trusts, estates, banks, governments, courts, agencies, whatever. It's all going through in and out of a post office, you guys. Think about that for a minute. Just blow your mind, right?
So now when you're saying
send it registered. Form 56 attached, so that the authorization that you're the fiduciary, and send that registered mail. You're welcome to even expedite your ESs overnight, like pay $30 to have it overnighted over there, and then send the registered mail. Let it take its time to get there. But if
So, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. All right. So we're almost done with that. He knows how to do that. Perfect. You can do that. That will create a heartbeat around that claim that you have. I would wait until the 3 weeks or the 21 days, business days has passed, because they're pretty good about sending out those trust returns. Because the money belongs to you as the trustee and fiduciary to get it to the Benny whose ship might be sinking. So they try not to delay the trust returns. Does that make sense? Unless there's actually a problem with it. Okay.
Well, so I believe I'm going to get a 6042C for the identification. It seems like that's a big thing that they're doing right now. Everyone else that I've talked to that has done it,
For your social.
Yeah, they're getting those in the mail. Yeah.
If it's $3,000 or more that you're owed on a tax return, because they are right now screening for stolen identity. 3 million undocumented people are in this country right now, and how these coyotes have been trafficking people is not just actually women and children and babies and stuff. They've been trafficking Social Security, or seasonal worker W-9s, okay, which is basically your person that's only here 6 months out of the year. So think about, in the last 3 million have come in to our country, and they have to make sure everybody that this is our discomfort, is that all of our Social Security tax returns are being delayed because we have an influx of undocumented people trying to get tax returns. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I've already did the 56 as well. Do you think I should still attach another one with the 41 ESNV?
If that envelope is going in the mail, electronically it went already. That's an electronic filing department pile. If you don't get your return soon, and I'm just telling you to go ahead and send in ESs maybe for the amount that you are going to be getting, and you send that separately, that's going to land on someone's desk that doesn't know anything about your electronically filed one. So it would help them do their job if you just did a copy of the Form 56 and a copy of your tax return and put copy on it so that they know you've already electronically filed. Here's a little incentive for you to get my return back to me. Here's some ESs for the same amount that you're supposed to be cutting me a check for. Feel me?
Gotcha, gotcha. And one last thing, real quick. I'm trying to hurry, I promise. When you say send registered mail, I know they have two different ways: registered return receipt, and then they have the actual, I think it's called registered, where it does not leave a post office worker's hands until it is actually delivered into the hands of the person that's addressed.
So we have to just look at why you're wanting to figure that out. And when I bring everything back to center and why we're doing what we're doing, if you're owed 80,000 or 280,000 on a tax return for a trust, and you're waiting and your ship can't go anywhere because it has no provisions, and you've just learned how to stuff that cookie jar with 280,000 in paper securities, bonds, and credits that you're due back someday, maybe, but not now, future, right? You're waiting. You're simply using that registration as a taxable event that you're giving it $21 or more. I usually put 21 silver dollars as the value of what's in the package. That makes it international law. That makes me the holder in due course of the value assessed in that envelope. I get to say what that value is worth. The longer they take to pay you, the more your billing keeps going, right? You have to get paid even though they're not paying you your tax return. So who are you billing? You have to bill your estate, which is your main account. So you bill yourself by adding more credits to your ledger. So that registered receipt now becomes a $250,000 base assessable amount.
Gotcha.
Lost wages, lost time that I spent that I could have gone out at sea, but I had no provisions, so it's been delayed. Time I spent in this classroom today. What if you're $250 an hour? Has anyone gotten a receipt out and written a receipt to themselves for today? Because by the way, y'all get to pay yourself for today. $250 an hour. So until you create the receipt, ain't nobody getting paid, right? Just saying. Okay. So did I answer your question? Hopefully I did.
Well, at first there you were cut out, but I think you did. I just didn't know whether I should pay the extra because you were saying scan it in at the post office. So I didn't know if that's meant that they did it the other way where they don't lose, it stays in someone's hand, or if the regular green return receipt was suffice.
Green card receipt will suffice. It doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be in custody like the whole way that, so normally we keep the registered receipts in our own records and we don't give over because each one of those registered receipts is actually a bond number. And we get to give it an assessable value now. We didn't know that before. So when I say I turn literally everything into a receipt now, that's what I mean. So if you're going to take the time and energy to send an overpayment to the department that's supposed to receive your 1041 prepayment money order fish, then you may as well secure it and put a tracking number on it and give it value.
Gotcha. I follow.
That way you're not waiting for them to give you a return. You're still creating credits and paying yourself while you're waiting, but it's just another opportunity to create a receipt for yourself. And that's why, sign in blue, do your CAF number in bright blue, because they're scanning it all, they're looking there, and I think they give priority to securities or blue signed documents. A lot of these mortgage papers, you guys, are black and white. They're dead fiction pieces of paper. They're junk and they're fraud. But ours are filled with red and purple and blue and green and all kinds of fun colors, right? So,
All right, one last thing. Would you recommend a specific office? It seems like all of my documents have been pulled and are currently at I think it's the Ogden, Utah, where the treasury is. All of my documents seem to have been pulled to that one location. Would that be the recommended spot for the ESs and the V to be sent?
You got to
no.
look at the form, brother. Look at the 1040V. It tells you exactly where to send it for your
So
state.
when you're getting audited, Ogden is the legal commissioner, the commission and all of his officers' location. And that's where that's where CID, it's the it's the law division of the paymaster that has breached a trust. And so I can't even confirm for you whether anybody's even there collecting the mail. So no one ever said if you're getting audited, you can't still pay yourself, file, report, and recoup. Business as usual, keep on trucking. You get to do whatever you want and follow the instructions is my best advice. Wherever you're sending your payment to, send it where the 1041s, I think it's Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. And I've had JP Morgan stamp my green card receipt out of Kentucky. They're an agent for the Treasury. I think it's because we took over JP Morgan and all of its securities, back in 2021 during the bankruptcy. Just saying. But you guys, you're going to be surprised what you get when you get these green cards back, who stamps them. It's going to be exciting. So that's what I would do. Follow the instructions. You're agreeing to prepay. You're agreeing to gift. They're going to make those payments priority. They're going to look at your account. They're going to see if you owe anything. They're going to see where you're at. And they're going to issue a letter of advice or a letter of adjustment or a letter of insufficient, you need to pay this because, we're missing this. Oftentimes they're looking for a responder. Okay. First responder gets the cookies. So, and by the way, normally in courtesy, customary in international law and banking law and securities law, there's a courtesy letter that goes out, if possible, by 3 days. In the third day. If you can't get something out to them, you can backdate it a few days so that you're telling them that you are on time on paper. Okay. So that's what I was going to share about that piece. To be an honor is to try to respond as soon as possible. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yep. Can't wait to hear all the good news from everybody.
And Rosk, in the chat, you need to know all three of the forms, brother. 1040 is your tax return, meaning you. So let's start here. The 1040V is your payment voucher it's like your debit, okay? You want to draw, it's like you take your debit card at the bank, pretend that's what your 1040V is, because that's what's going to pull the funds that you sent with the 1040ES, your employee statement. You're calculating how much you were supposed to get paid in 2023 for acting in your beneficiary's best interest or the Social Security person. So the 1040ES, you're writing your estimated whatever, how much you're supposed to get paid. The 1040V is your debit card to pull those credits that you just issued with the 1040ES. Okay. And then the 1040 tax return returns the taxes to you. It draws them out. Okay. So maybe debit card isn't the best analogy for the 1040V, but the V is the draw, the ES is the credit that you're initially issuing, and then the regular tax return returns those credits to you. Simple as that. You need to learn all three of them, my man. Um, all right, Aldi Global. You still have a question? Of
I'm
course.
doing all right. I was okay. So I just wanted to make sure. So the amount that you're putting on that for what you should have been paid last year is basically, I'm not gonna say a guesstimate, but you're going to uh, put that together based on what you're like at a guesstimation, I guess, because I doubt that. I mean, most people don't have all their receipts from everything they did last year. So and then the bank account portion. I mean, are you having to prove this stuff? Or you have to send in receipts? You have to send in some sort of documentation.
Okay, back it up. How much are you worth hourly?
Um, that's almost an infinite number. Well, let's just go with the 250 that you used earlier.
250 an hour. Okay, so are you willing, if you feel more comfortable having receipts and paying yourself hourly and paying yourself like a daily salary, okay, to do all this stuff, do you feel comfortable going to Office Depot and getting one of those carbon receipts or ordering your business name or your sole prop name from Office Depot or Amazon so that you have a carbon? And at the end of every day, you fill out a receipt of the hours that you worked at $2.50 an hour. Then you'll have receipts.
Do you know how much that totals up to in a year for 8-hour, 40-hour work weeks, bro?
Not off the top of my head.
$520,000.
Yep.
$520,000 for $2.50 an hour. Now, when Kimarie went over what we are doing, when you think about it, you're a power of attorney in fact, right? You are agent for your social security person all day, every day. You do the laundry. There's so many hats you wear in a day that you aren't getting paid for. So that's where we're drawing the basis of even the 250. So technically, if you want to be modest, it's $125 an hour would be the $250,000. Just about. It'd be $260,000 a year salary if you're making.
Right, because you don't want to go over the 250. Or
Sure.
that's
What
questions.
you know your records and only you know what your bank statements say that you've spent or what your business expenses are or what your side gig job is or whatever you're doing, volunteering, whatever. Only you know what's going through your bank accounts. And what we just haven't been doing is prepaying ourselves when we file our taxes, and we're all crying and moaning when it comes time for taxes, and we're all trying to hide the money that we made so we can pay less taxes, because no one ever told us the more you pay, the more you get back. Just saying. So we have to just
All
think
right.
about it newly. We get to create the receipts out of thin air. Only you know how much time you spend grocery shopping for yourself and your family and your loved ones.
To verify what she's saying as well, check this out. I don't know if you can see my screen. This was from
Yeah.
the commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service in 1985. To all district directors, on March 5th, 1985, a charge of tax evasion was filed in the U.S. District Court of Indianapolis, Indiana by U.S. Attorney George Duncan. The charges were dismissed. The defense attorney Lowell B. Craft of Huntsville, Alabama, represented irrefutable evidence that the 16th Amendment of the Constitution was never properly ratified. The amendment, which established the income tax, was signed into law despite serious defects. In reality, only 2 states ratified the amendment, and the ratification requires 36 to be valid. And the effect of this is such that every tax paid into the Treasury since 1913 is due and refundable to every citizen and business. The official position of services, as it has always been, to aid and assist the citizens of the United States. We will not publish or advertise this finding, as a total immediate refund would cause a serious strain on the resources of the Treasury. For those citizens who become aware of this finding and apply for a total refund, expedite their refund documents as quickly and quietly as possible. A simple 1040X form will suffice until a new form is designed and printed. Advise each of your managers that they are not to discuss the situation with anyone. There will be no written communications, and you are to destroy this memorandum. The Secretary of the Treasury assures me that there will be no reduction in your workforce, as the refunding activity will take a minimum of 5 years to complete. Further directions will be forwarded as the need arises. Roscoe L. Egger, Jr., Commission of the IRS. Patrick had this in his files. I've seen this floating around. To the validity of it, I don't know. But everything is a tax, and we have the right to recoup them. And actually, is there some sort of public law we can refer to, Kimarie, to make people like to understand this concept, or how? I'm not questioning it because I do understand, but like for people who need the proof, you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is to read the publication for employers. Because if you're going to start paying yourself, you're now wearing an employer hat, right? And that just happens to be the instructions for all the 1099s.
Now
So,
that money. Oh, sorry.
yeah, well, M, well, because I've read it so many times, but M kept sticking out to me because it basically gave us all the titles that we are, besides just an employer. We're all these other things. We're winners. We are receivers. We are. Hold on. Let me just look it up real quick. Instructions M. Yeah. Go ahead. Someone was going to ask a question while I'm looking for this real quick.
And those funds
1099.
have to go into the non-interest bearing account, and then they have to be distributed quickly. Is that correct, or is this
if it's from a
different?
trust, if you're doing a 1041, is what she said, I believe. Is that right, Kimarie?
Yeah. Am I muted?
No.
Okay. So so let me ask you this. What's the concern? And then ask it that way.
To know if the money if the funds requested via this procedure, if they have to go into the trust. I'm not sure if I was mixing things up. If they have to go into a trust account and then be distributed to the beneficiary from the trust account, or if they just come, or if it's coming direct, or since you're requesting it to yourself, because you're doing a 1040, you are the beneficiary,
Yeah.
so you can just put it into
Yeah.
any account.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. All right. I yield.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Crystal Paz, you can unmute. Crystal? Yeah, how's it going?
Awesome. My question is that I homeschool my children, and I also run an RV park at the same time. I do everything. I've been homeschooling my kids for about 4 years now. My husband does have a daily job, so I stay home. Would I still only put 250,000 on that? Or I wouldn't say, should I put it? That's that's not how I should ask that. Is it okay that I value my services at that, since I do everything to keep my household plus the business side running?
If if you if you just found out that you have a escrow account with a ton of credits in it, almost unlimited amount of credits that you inherited,
Uh-huh.
you would start looking and assessing yourself a little differently in your value, wouldn't you?
Yes.
So isn't that what you're doing right now and asking the question?
Yes.
So would it be easier for people, and I think it's easier for us to do this, would it be easier for you to think about what you could start paying yourself hourly since you just found out you can pay yourself?
Yeah.
Or daily. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Could you do it a daily rate? Because even if you're on vacation, you're still the guardian responsible for the vessel that God created.
True.
Okay? So who's going to brush your teeth?
Me.
Okay. So hourly or daily. And then we haven't even started to think about what kind of bonuses we want to give ourselves.
Gotcha. Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So start from there. I mean, it causes reverence. I can hear it in your voice. It's a bit of a paradigm shift.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It is. I caught you on the 903 yesterday, and I was just taken back by your conversation. I just listened, and I followed you, and you told me about this group today. So I've been here since you opened up, sitting here with you 7 hours, 8 hours, however long we have been here. But I'm in shock, I guess, a little bit. So I guess like that's why I just want to make sure that, I am doing this in the right direction that I'm supposed to, don't want to do anything that I'm not supposed to, I guess.
Okay, so we're getting a little bit to the heart of the matter, right?
Yes.
What have we been trained in our whole lives? To
pay?
Ask for a job, to ask for a handout, to ask for something outside ourselves so that they could influence us and have us be distracted. Squirrel over here. We cannot have these folks realize that they're Christ incarnate, right?
Right.
We cannot have them. And if they get too bright, it'll make it uninhabitable for us here. If you think about the life or death of a parasite, it literally cannot live without a host.
I understand.
That's Satan, the deceiver. So we've survived and we made it. We crossed the finish line. We're still alive. Some of us are crawling, but we made it, right?
Right. Yes.
And what if the revelation is the end for the parasite, because it's just not very inhabitable here. There's too much love and too much joy and too much jubilee and too much light and too much happiness. I can't be here anymore. And they can't. That's why our light extinguishes the dark. So the more you value yourself, then the 144,000 that are linked up to you in the ether will also get a raise, an attitude adjustment, and a paradigm shift. If nothing else, your guides, your fairies, your spirits, your angels, whoever's working with us down here, helping us navigate this godforsaken place, okay? Yes. Someone is going to be affected the minute you come out of being in shock, because you're in shock. I get that. This is a paradigm shift.
Yes, I am.
and let's just say the way we can forgive our trespassers or those who didn't less necessarily, they gate kept from us and they didn't tell us. Let's just say that was a hedge of protection to keep us cloaked, so that we wouldn't shine our light too bright, pop our head up too fast, and become targeted.
Understand.
What happened the minute I deposited a 1.8? Do you think I've ever had 1.8 in my life in my hand? Ever? Never. Okay? No. You know what it took for me to go back in time and add up all those numbers and say, if I'm being really honest with myself, have I really been that busy? Yes, I have. I've worn 6 hats since I was 15. Okay? So, Okay, as you can tell, I have a lot of energy and not a whole lot of places to put it. So of course, God put me on this really amazing game called let's crack the code of the IRS, right?
Yeah.
Let's take the bully out with one slingshot, right? So here we are now together around the campfire. And what we're doing is we're remembering maybe we came here for a different purpose. And maybe we don't have to fight anymore and the war ends with us. And maybe we start with forgiveness, forgiving those and then forgiving ourselves for not knowing sooner, but we
Yeah.
can forgive those who trespassed. We can forgive those who plundered. We can forgive those who hijacked. We can forgive those who killed even and leave that judgment,
Non-combative, non-belligerent, clean
right?
hand.
Let's leave it to God. Ultimately, it's between that person and God anyway.
Understand?
The peace is with us, right? If we could, so now that we can get to that forgiveness part, now we've got to get to the real work, which is what am I worth? Now, I'll make it easy for you. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
If you were walking next to a Birkenstock wearing linen cloth badass, okay?
Uh-huh.
Would you make sure that that linen cloth supernatural being was taken care of while he was here?
Yes.
Are you any different than him in relationship?
No.
So you would take care of yourself while you're on your walk because we're walking with other linen cloth wearing badasses.
Yes.
So if we came down here to save this planet from darkness and our job is to be the light, let's figure out the fastest way we can shine.
Understand?
It was never about the money for me. It was about the justice and turning the light on those who may have unknowingly been extorted from by criminals who actually need to be in jail.
And y'all know the definition of justice? It means to pay your dues, of even paying of dues where they're rightfully meant to be paid. It's both a financial term as well as what people think when, you balance the scales. But scales, money, it's all, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's just, adding some glitter onto the conversation.
We all love glitter, especially girls.
Okay. And just to bring it back, to the circle is like, so the greatest trick that we ever got pulled over our eyes was that thing tried to trick us that it didn't exist. So that we're over here going in circles, not knowing what the hell's happening in Mr. Magoo land, right? We're just like, I can't even give any of this my time. It's too out there, right?
Yeah.
So now that we've exposed it and looked behind the curtain, now we get to how do we want to walk this walk? What would JC do? What would the light in me do? Okay, so all I did was report the people. And then in the process, now I'm going to be getting back even more than what they took.
Gotcha. I feel like my husband works I guess my journey started because my husband works very hard and he supports us, and I support the household by staying home. But I feel like he works so hard, but getting nowhere.
Right.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I feel like,
That's
we
by
have a
design,
house.
friend.
Yeah, we have a house, we have cars, we've paid for these things in full, but yet we feel like we're still trapped because when does it end?
Yep.
That's when does it end? Like how do you just really be able to enjoy life and just say, oh, I'm going to take a 2-week vacation and not have to worry about going to my 9 to 5?
Yeah. So 3D language, alpha omega. 3D language, alpha omega.
All right.
Beginning and the end. It starts and ends with you if you want to be sovereign. Some people are too weak, old, and abandoned to rely on themselves to attempt to learn what you learn today. So they literally need a stipend from the state.
Understand.
Okay. Where do you think they're getting taken care of from the state? Their own Mort Main, Cestacay, Clawback escrow account.
Makes sense.
Everybody keeps saying the taxpayers are paying for the welfare. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Could I say something?
That makes
really
sense.
quick?
Yeah, that's everything I have. Thank you very much for your time.
You
and
bet.
everybody on here as well. So I'll go ahead and mute myself. Thank you guys for your time.
Of course, of course. It looks like we have Jag. Thank you for waiting patiently, bro. Or miss.
No, guys, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing? I've been here the whole time too. I appreciate it, and I found you guys from the 903, like most of us. But my question is real simple. I opened a TDA account, and it was basically to avoid all the problems that Kim had. I'm sorry. I don't know. Did I pronounce your name wrong?
It's Kimarie. That's okay.
Yes. Is it a good idea to have the Treasury dump those funds into the TDA account and then have it funneled down from there, because the TDA account has the trust account number information, and that's it.
That's correct. And I did personally have my TD account connected to my oldest trust account that I was moving to Texas that I've had since 2009. And I was playing around with depositing checks payable to United States Treasury in my account. And what they did was they closed it because my intention was making I was writing checks out of my own account. From the Benny was writing checks to the trust account for the ledger keeper, the bank, to turn the pay to the United States Treasury, go to the window and put those credits that I just paid you, the bank, and you know you got paid, and go grab me the credits from the Fed window and deposit those in my bank account so I can pay my car payments. So after about 3 deposits, payable to the United States Treasury into my bank account, they closed it. And what that closed account, especially a trust account, a closed trust account is for set off and settlement. So I could have filed bankruptcy. I could have filed all kinds of ESs. I was experimenting at the time before I knew how to file a 1041 tax return. So my trust account, the last time I had a trust account was in 2022, late 2022 when it got closed. So I moved into brokerage at Fidelity and brokerage at Wells Fargo. And then that's where I've been making my tax deposits to create receipts for my claims on my trust returns. So I knew that the banks were a pass-through and could be useful for us. I knew that the bankers and the attorneys and the courts were using our securities at the Fed window, but I wasn't quite putting all that together. So yeah, I think the TDA account's great, but make no mistake, brother, I fulfilled my dream of being Charlie's Angels the day I caught that fraud and security officer who's the VP of fraud and security at a 1946 old family bank in the deep south of you know where the cartel has been running the show in the nation for years. Just saying, I think I might have saved a bank or I got them a free audit. Either way, it's a win-win. Make sense?
Yes.
I
Okay.
was guided. I was guided. Listen, I have all this trust knowledge. I knew that I was taking a risk. We had already been told the banks aren't safe. What kind of 8-year-old balloon carrying, linen wearing badass would go deposit a 1.8 check in a bank account that wasn't being a double agent? I just operated with no fear, like an average, ordinary, everyday person who finally got an inheritance check. And I went in and started investing in my business. I opened up 7 accounts. I was on my way to a payroll account so I could start paying people in my bookkeeping business because we're having great results. I just did business as usual. I wasn't worried about the bank stealing my money. I wasn't worried about well, you got to distribute it all to the Benny. Well, I am the Benny. So what do you mean? Okay, I already did. I already put it. So the fiduciary is the Benny, and that's why it makes it sometimes difficult that we don't operate with different entities, because when you're processing and for yourself, it makes it hard for you to wear the hat, sit in the seat, and have a arm's length perspective. How could I best secure these funds for this person, Kimberly Teter, who's actually me's future? So I just did what a grown-up investor, business person, I've been in business my whole life. I just did what a business person would do if they just got a nice big chunky grant, and I started investing in my business and people around me. I started sending them $25,000 retainer cashier's checks to retain their services for all the work that we have been doing for years and not been paid. Right?
Right.
So my point is that I don't think I need to be Charlie's Angels on my next tax return, because I think I've learned so much from this process, and I appreciate you bringing up the TDA account. And I did have those experiences, but I also feel like we're learning so much, and had those funds not gotten frozen, I wouldn't even be on this call right now. We'd be on a love boat right now, getting ready for the big boat parade that's going to break the Guinness Book of World Records here in October. Just saying, I have some big plans, and I'm glad I got to get an audit of a bank that's been it's been around a long time. And so if their hands are clean, great. If the IRS agent who did not give proper notice to me and give me an opportunity to pay my bills before they conspired with the bank to freeze my accounts so that they could take all those funds and purportedly send them back to the Treasury, if all that happened and their hands are clean, I forgive. I look at myself. What did I do wrong? What was my mistake? I learn from it, I grow, and I move on. That's how I've learned everything. I've not been afraid. I just go, and I do what because it's not about, I'm not operating in fear. So I don't even have a criminal mindset when I go to the bank and I'm getting ready to deposit and endorse a $1.8 million tax return that, by the way, I've worked for 14 years.
You're so
I worked for that
badass, dude.
1.8, right?
You're so badass. That's crazy. And you
Right?
know
Because
what?
it's not about the money. It's about the justice at the end of the day.
And we really are our biggest enemy. We
Yeah.
are our own biggest enemy. The biggest part, especially for me in this whole journey, I know this shit, you know? I know this stuff, but half the time you're battling with yourself like, is this real? Am I going to get in trouble? We've been so conditioned to like think we're going to go to freaking jail. Even though all the IRS forms say they're correctable, you can amend them, you can do whatever you want, you know? Like it's not set in stone, and it's not as scary as it's made out to be. So yes, we need to be a
And
little
by the
more
way,
Kimarie like.
it's I would if I thought for a minute that I couldn't trust this bank, I would have sent a cashier's check to myself for at least 500 grand so I could rest for a minute. Lord knows I've been working so hard, but I wasn't thinking. None of us operate that way, in my opinion. We don't think we're going to be, that pirates are going to board our ship and just grab our bags. We just, if we thought that way, we wouldn't go on vacation ever, because we'd be worried that our suitcase is going to get stolen, on the little thing that puts it up in the plane, right? We can't operate in fear, otherwise we'd go insane. So faith over fear has me on this call with you all right now. So I'm glad that that happened now. And I'm glad that I've learned all that I've learned from it. Now I get to share with other folks what not to do. Or what to do. Make sure you pay yourself. I literally was sitting there with so much cash in the account that I didn't think I even needed to write myself a check. You just don't think from that place. That's why when I was talking to Crystal a minute ago, I get the paradigm shift that this is. Because it's literally no different. I'm taking a tax return that I deposited in my bank account and paying myself $250,000 out of that bank account that I just deposited my tax return in.
Mm.
It's no different at all. For you to say why can't I put $250,000 away in a nice little escrow account or a holding account or non-interest bearing account? But why wouldn't you put it in an interest bearing account so you could actually get monthly statement showing how much the bank is paying you on that $250,000, which is what's happening in my savings account, by the way, which is so strange. We'll see if I get one this month, but they actually had to send a cashier's check of all the funds that I had in all 7 accounts to pay the IRS the bill that I purportedly owed, which, by the way, I already paid 3 times. That's okay. I have all the records. They have nothing but rogue agents. As you saw, someone said today they're hiring 3,000 IRS agents at CID?
Yeah.
Could it be that they just rounded up 3,000 and they need replacements? That was a CID agent that I met with, by the way, last summer that bullied me. So, just saying, I did see hardly any traffic on the freeway heading north where everybody has money in this town. 5 o'clock on a Friday, 2 cars going north about every mile. And there was not a car accident. I checked because that was very interesting looking at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Just saying, I think a lot of people have been picked up, and I think they're all on barges on their way to under martial law. It's court martial. It's military justice. Okay. If you were a banker, those are called officers in an exempt bank or exempt court or an exempt government agency. Those are considered officers. They don't just go to criminal court, you guys. They get court-martialed. They're considered an officer with a rank on a ship that have been hired as a federally privileged worker or a state agency worker under a blanket of federal agency, 3-letter badge, whatever, and they get to operate with impunity.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? The only way they know who to go get is if we report them just a suspicious activity report. All I did was show them, here's what I deposited, here's when I did, here's who sent me here's the date that my accounts were frozen. Here's who I called at the Security and Fraud Division. They happened to put me on the phone with Mr. So-and-so. And I come to find out that Mr. So-and-so talked to Mr. So-and-so over here behind closed doors and never talked to me. And still to this day, the Treasury's not sent me an assessment that return didn't belong to me. I think it's because the case is still being adjudicated, and there might be some people that got reported in this matter. So we are Space Force. We are volunteers helping restore and recover this country from a very, very large group of bad actors who don't have oaths of office to protect us any way, shape, or form. They're all corporate policy enforcers. Just saying, unless they're not. They have clean hands, great. If we report them, they'll have a clean bill of record, everything will be fine. If they are dirty, they're gonna get picked up.
Also, you know what I thought of, Kimarie? Like we have, it's going back to people worrying about like how much am I worth or this or that or what can I get away with? Think about freaking artists who paint a painting and sell their paintings for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's just one painting. You know what I mean? What's giving that value? You know, the energy that the artist put into it, the stroke of their hand. You know, it's sort of the same thing. I don't know why that just popped in my head too, but like we are the money, we are the energy. You just have to know your worth, and that's kind of the beginning of the battle too. A lot of people don't. I don't appreciate myself as much as I should, and that sounds narcissistic or like narcissistic to even want to do that. But like, you know, you were put on this earth. You're very special. That we are creators. We are in the image of God. Like it's, you know, it's crazy. You know, and there's something like this. Like, look at all the weird conspiracy stuff that we know is real. You know what I mean? Like, this is like 100% like there's no way this won't work in my book, you know. What was that, brother?
Yep.
Okay, so are they still going to send us a check even though we have a TBA account? And also, how much would you recommend that we keep in the trust account without triggering problems with the bank? Because I just plan to keep it all in the TBA.
See, think of yourself as a penetrating, you're penetrating the system. Because everyone's claim is unique, everyone's bookkeeping is unique, everyone's ledger and bank statements are unique, everyone's life is unique. There's no way that I have the access to the knowledge to be able to answer your question for you. I don't know how in the end, if you read the instructions on a 1041, and you see that they only send checks out for trust tax returns. Now, recently I learned that we can do a direct deposit into our trust account as long as that trust account has been recorded at the county office, at the county recorder. Also, our friend who was on the call the other day is working a lot with the EPS payment system at the post office. She's penetrating that system. Yeah.
Badass, dude. She's
yeah,
badass.
she's
She was on here
totally
today,
bringing nuggets because it's a field of interest for her. So she's going to pick at it and she's going to figure that out. She's going to figure that puzzle out. I have other areas that I'm figuring out the puzzle too. So at the end of the day, if you want to be self-governing, your job is to look at the terms and conditions and then look at the risk after having read the instructions on anything. And then you have to determine whether your effort is worth the risk that you're about to take because it's the unknown. I don't know how behind someone might be on child support. I don't know how long they've gone without filing taxes. So, the tax advocate office are very willing to help us, as you all know. So that's a good place to go after you read some instructions. But what I know from 3 years of processing and creating receipts, and out of that processing, 4 of my amendeds for my Social Security person are on hold. I think it's because my trust has finally filed for my Benny, and I'm the only Benny that's due all those credits back, and they happen to be the same amount if maybe less credits than I was putting on my ESs. My ESs were just to pay off any old tax liabilities that the IRS purportedly said that I had. So that's a long story in itself. But let me just go back to this. If you're a sovereign, you can never harm or injure anybody or be accused of doing such if you're sending an inquiry, if you're sending a payment, if you're sending a offer. Inquiry, offer, letter of maybe it's a letter of inquiry, whatever. Whenever you're sending forward, they have a duty to perform, because we have an already always bond with this country. We and our ancestors, our family members built this country. We built the buildings that the bankers are working in. We're not going to stand for it anymore that we are paying the payroll of the government that's paying the bankers that steal from us. We're just not going to tolerate it anymore. If I can't take this I've been stolen from to a sheriff or a police officer, which we already know we can't. No, you have to go get an attorney and you have to go sue them in Satan's court. There's no justice here at the county level. Oh, it's half the time, if they do make a report, you just made yourself a target. Good luck trying to report a bank. Just saying. So what we're doing is we're forgiving, and when fishermen can't go out to sea, what do? Repair their nets. So I'm just repairing my records. Error, didn't pay myself. Oh shit, didn't pay myself. Let me get those receipts working right now, right? I forgive myself, now let's move on. So that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing. And I'm happy to share that with other people that are willing to look at it from that perspective. Because the more of us there are that read the instructions, come forward. If you find something, that's what the Socratic method of learning is all about. Learning in the round, right? Knights of the Round Table, kings and queens of the Round Table. We bring our best with the intent to lift up our brothers and sisters, not look for how what you do is going to injure me in the future. No, that's how insurance and liability and usury come from. We want to actually come from how can we lift you up? So what can you do that I can make sure you won't be harmed in doing it? Well, you can send a payment. I've sent so many pay to the United States Treasuries now, I think my boat's lopsided. So I've been actually learning about the bees recently. And so there's a whole lot of amazing stuff that's coming my way because I've been persistent and I never gave up. And then I spent since July 15th, working on this case of mine. So I'm about to get the comptroller and the AG are about to get my blank business tax forms and a letter from me to assist me in making me whole, since one of their corporations, companies, exempt entities, whatever, injured me. I'm choosing not to go into court and hire a bunch of attorneys. I don't have the money and I would never hire an attorney anyway, but I'm choosing to go the other route. I'm going the sovereign route. I'm going to handle my affairs through arbitration through the mail. And if I can't get justice, I actually recently just sent my whole case, it was 3 inches thick, to the Marines address where the federal treasury, federal comptroller, and the Marines are caretaking all of our records. Since I had a 3949A and was reporting one of their agents, I thought that they would like to know, and I put a couple of my tax returns in there with a writ of restitution. Like, I'm requesting from one sovereign to, as a civil authority, I'm requesting to be made whole by the comptroller and the treasury at the federal level, since I have not been able to get justice at the state level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I may get a check from the comptroller at the state level, but I sent my 3-inch thick package out 10 days ago. It didn't stop me from continuing to work with the Secretary of State here. They all, I feel, have a duty to perform. So I got the federal side of the scale covered, and by tomorrow or Thursday, I'll have my claim back to the AG comptroller who works with the comptroller, and they usually work to make sure that they're not being sued as a state, because they're a corporate extension of what we call a franchise. Now, in Texas, there's a whole lot more republic going on, if you know what I mean. So we're expected to operate as sovereigns here in the Republic of Texas. We also don't have any debt. We have Air Marshal Guard, Army National Guard. We have our own energy grid system. We have our own fuels. We have our own contract. We have, like, Texas could join BRICS right now and have contracts with across the pond companies and have a beautiful trade and exchange using the BRICS platform, because we're not in debt. So that tells me that the comptroller has a duty to make sure if a claim comes his way where I've been injured, that just like the 1099X that Marduk just read, just please make that person whole without delay. We just don't need a bunch of, we don't need a bunch of people gathering arms and going in the streets. Maybe you can get away with stealing from one person, but if this a company gets caught stealing a couple times and they've been reported a couple times, and the AG doesn't fine or reprimand or somehow, I'm just saying, we're moving to the justice side of the playing field now, and we do things differently on this side when you're a sovereign. Like, it's going to take a lot for me to get out of my queen's chair. Someone taking 1.8 from me is not going to get me in the streets with a double barrel gun. I can tell you that right now, because it's not about the money for me, right? But
It's
you
about
hurt those
justice.
children, Mama Bear is coming after you. But I'm not trained to be one of those people that's going in the tunnels, that's helping rescue all those children. I can only do what I'm skilled at right now, which is bookkeeping, record keeping, and I'm on a mission from God. So I have not, I was going to go into the military, but I ended up being a double agent. I'm a administrator. I'm a minister. And we all get to kind of choose what lights you up. Obviously, all of you can see clearly. I've had 1 cup of coffee today, and it's 8:31. Clearly, this is what I was put on the planet to do. I don't even need
We're
food.
reaching 9 hours right now. We're reaching 9 hours right now.
So, okay, we should close it at 9 hours, because that's a beautiful divine number.
Let's take one more question, you guys. We're gonna meet again on Wednesday, so this isn't it. Okay,
That would
write
be
down
me,
your
right?
questions. Yeah, that's you, Shan. So we're gonna take this last one, and then wrap it up, because I need to go pee very bad, and I've just been sitting here just in case someone needs me. So Shan, yes, please go ahead. Hi, how are you?
Great. Thank you for asking, by the way. Kimarie, you've just been awesome. I so appreciate you. So much gratitude for you. So I have an employment. I also run a ministry. And I'm wondering, as far as the ministry, when I go ahead and do the 1040V, And the ES for the ministry work I do, it's private ministry. So it's not a 501.
Yep. You are the ship generating all the movements to make manifest your path on this planet.
My God, you answered so many questions today. Let me tell you, I am an excellent bookkeeper and ledger, and I've kept every receipt for so many years because I didn't know what to do with all of this. But I've been doing it, and I've been keeping it. And I knew as soon as I figured this out, I was going to just be able to run with it. So I'm just so glad with the news today. Another question for you. Should I go ahead and do a Numinant report for all of the accounts that I may have that I have no memory of to go back to?
After you get your first chunk of change, you can spread your energy in whatever divine, beautiful ways you want to. In my humble opinion, the less work, the less barriers we can put in front of ourselves to actually pay ourselves first. Okay. False idol is not just a passing term. Okay. When we put anything in front of ourselves and God, it creates a Maya.
Mm-hmm.
It creates an automatic deficit, less than class status scenario. It's like coming down from the throne at the right hand of God and deciding that we want to roll around in the pig poo. Until we realize that we have manna from heaven and we're here by the grace of God every breath I take, when we realize that, and then you stand up straight and you realize you're the linen cloth Birkenstock wearing badass, right? Then everything shifts in your created reality, including what we think of this paper.
Agreed. Yes.
And thank you for all the work that everybody's doing. Thank you for your ministry, and thank you for receiving the information.
I feel so blessed by the work that I'm doing, by the way. Should I do a 1099 for all these receipts, miscellaneous?
Well, when you say all these receipts, okay, as a bookkeeper, it's like all your Walmart receipts are in one stack, all your Target receipts are in one stack, all your Office Depot are in one stack, right?
Right.
So if you were going to do a recoupment on receipts, actual receipts, it would be easier to actually do a B for each receipt that you technically bartered with that for 12 months. If you're going to take the Walmart stack of receipts, you're going to add up, it's going to be the same thing if you were looking at your bank statement. All the Walmart highlighted in yellow, right? The physical receipts are great, but they're the basis should you ever get audited. I can't even imagine any of us getting audited at this point, since the IRS is turning into a paymaster instead of a debt collector, right? But nonetheless, to do our duty, if we're private banks, we would keep all of our records, originals, for 10 years. Fine. I got some bank boxes over here. I can stack them up over here. Sometimes it helps to get them digitized, though, because what if you have a fire? Well, then you get to just make up what your value was for that year and what you should have been paid, because that would have been the basis for what came out of your bank account. 6 half dozen the other. What came first, the chicken or the egg? The energy or the receipt? The receipt caused the energy, but the energy can cause the receipt. So there's your circle and a square again, right? It's balancing it all out. So at the end of the day, your receipts are really a basis for you to look at and go, okay, I spent $1,200 at Target this year. I'm going to put $1,200 on my sticky note. Then I'm going to do $1,200 times 10, right? $1,200 times 10. And that's the amount that I actually bartered because it went through a bank and you're holding goods or services that you went to the marketplace and you used someone else's local energy so that you could go back and do your local energy at the ministry. But we're using a type of barter in exchange. So $1,200 times 10 is what would go in the barter box on the B. The recipient is going to be Target's headquarter address. Okay? Recipient gets the B. Who's the payer? Who paid for all that Target or Walmart stuff? The social.
We did. Well,
the social, right? So that's the payer. And when you file that 1099-B, you're gonna check USPS mail, and the IRS is gonna, at your service, they're gonna send a hard copy through the mail from their distribution center, and Target headquarters is gonna get your 1099-B, and they're gonna see that you're getting 10 times the amount back. And that's gonna teach them that they get to be bankers one day for themselves when they're not working for a corporation. So then you stack your 1099-Bs up, because now you've got about 12 that you've bartered with your signature in the marketplace with, right? And those 10 get added up, and all of those get put on one OID. Tally, tally. So the OID, if you have a miscellaneous though, you got to put the withholding that you're due back on your tally sheet. If you're doing NEC, you've got to put the withholding amount on your tally sheet. If you sent in ESs and you withhold the whole amount from yourself for a year, you've got to put $250,000 on a tally sheet somewhere. And when it comes time for you to do an OID on your 1041, you get to add all these little withholdings up in your nice little safety deposit box escrow account that you set aside for yourself. And you get to draw it down. The 38% of that you can draw down. So that could be like 1.6 garnered me a $577,000 tax return. I don't remember what the amount was for Last Chance Gulch, but one of them was aggregate on an OID of 1.3. Then I paid 22, 24, or 38% drawdown fee to draw down some of those credits from a bond. And the withholding check is what I got in the mail. So 1.3, and then the withholding was the first trust tax return. Remember, you can file amendeds, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 more amendeds by the end of the year. Every time you turn in an amended, they zero out all of your reporting from the prior filing, and they make all the adjustments, and it's called an adjusted return. So the minute you do the X, it's like an automatic claim number. Okay, so normally, sometimes when we do an amendment, it's because one of our employers paid us very late on a 1099-B or a W-2, and we have to tell them why we're amending. Oh, my employer gave me a W-2 too late. In our case, we're going to say, oh, I added ESs and I deposited them this day at this location with certified mail receipt number. It's the law. I have the record. That's all I did. I sent you a private payment so I don't have to trade with the enemy. That's also the law.
Beautiful.
Make sense? So what's gonna happen is you're probably gonna start having a lot of insights and light bulbs go off as you start to look. I can't look at my files anymore without seeing everything as an assessed value. Everything, especially if it has my signature on it. Especially if it came from the post office. What we haven't done is given ourselves a value for what it took for me in gas, time, and energy to go to the post office. Oh, let's not forget the 4 hours I took 4 or 5 days in a week to get my package done to get it to the Pentagon.
Okay.
How long am I going to keep not paying myself?
Okay.
They're good. Go ahead.
I'm wondering, because of the issues you had with the bank, and I know why, because of the Trading with the Enemy Act and what they're doing, would the strongest, most safest thing to do is open up a trust account with maybe a credit union?
I think a credit union is a smart idea. Yep. And I think if you're filing a trust tax return and it's a simple one, simple means, if I would have filed a partnership return, it probably would have, the money would still be in the bank account. Because my birth certificate person is 50% partner with my adult taxpayer married name person. We're partners. We're bonded at the hip like twins, right? I'm just the grown-up version of the baby that they invested in, right? So since I did a 1041 trust return, and I did a simple one, which is just a fiscal year of 12 months of getting a return back on all of your expenses and your distributions and taxes that you paid, or, all of that. You're supposed to distribute it to the bennies that were listed. All of it goes to the bennies that were listed on your K1.
I think as we go on to Shan, we're going to be meeting 3 times a week. So I think today's main focus is just the borrowing with the ES, and then
a credit union is good.
Into the Bs and all that too. I have a bunch of documentation from Patrick that we can utilize as examples as what he did for all those, and he even has 1041 returns where he showed how he tallied up what he was claiming to get back the credits and the 1041Bs. So I already made folders too in the Telegram, Kimarie, for what we talked about today, so we can try to at least get some documentation for people to refer to.
Yeah, let's just let everybody get their ESs and their Vs done for 2023 and 2024.
Yep. And
it's never going to hurt to put your payment statements in the post at the location where you're supposed to send them. It's never going to hurt. Just be watching your transcripts and see when your credits are going to show up on your transcript. That's the first thing we should be doing. Paying ourselves.
And we are past 9 hours now, guys. So
let's wrap it up. Yay! Everybody should cheers and group hug because we did such good work today.
No, thank you so much, Kimarie. You are truly a superhuman. It's great.
Our new superhero. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Really appreciate it.
I do DoorDash. So what do you want to eat? Because you need to eat something.
Okay, listen now. I'm all the way at my office. I'm up north in the New Braunfels area for a minute. I had to grab some paperwork to get to finish my Those are my my manifolds. I'll be back in the San Antonio area tomorrow. Tomorrow midday, because I've got to get half of my paperwork's there and half of it's here.
Right.
So I had to pick up my laptop, but I thought we should do the meeting on the laptop so I'd be able to share a screen. So thank you for the offer, and I will definitely be wanting to gather with all my San Antonians and any New Braunfels people. I will definitely be wanting to meet with everybody at a library or an office space or anything so we can actually physically touch paper. Right?
I will take a road trip then. I'm in California, so I'll see you soon. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. So, and the republics are everybody's gathering, everybody's volunteering to be interim seats for this and that, so that when when it's time and the sovereigns are called to stand, there'll be someone there with a torch. So I know a lot of things are happening in Cali and a lot here too, but yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you everybody for your time and attention and energy and all the questions that, will get answered eventually. No problem. Just remember today, what did I make? 9 times 250.
Absolutely.
Okay. We all really appreciate your knowledge. This has been freaking awesome.
Yes.
Thank you
I
so
made
much.
$2,200 today.
Just times that by 1,000, and I think that's worth your time. Yeah.
Because we get to pay ourselves now. We have an unlimited credit source.
You want me to send you you want to send me an invoice for record keeping? I got you. Whatever you need to do, just charge my social. That's fine.
Well, I mean, pretty soon we're actually there's some heavenly bookkeepers that have been watching all of our energy and all this that we're doing, all this goodness has been, we're going to a meritocracy. And what that means is people will get awarded for their good service, deeds, and products and services. And so I just know that it's all coming in a waterfall to us in no time. And I just think that once we start making our claims and we do that in mass, so what if they have to hire more administrators to really, what does it really take for the blockchain to cut me a check? Seriously.
Yep.
We should be replacing the paymaster with XRP so we can make settlements in seconds. Why has it been this long, drawn out process and gatekeeping? Well, we all know the answer to that question now. They've been using our socials. Now they can't use our socials anymore, so there's no incentive.
Take back what's ours.
That's it. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go have some dinner, and I appreciate everybody's gifts and everybody's participation. And let's do this again. Marty, thank you for stepping up and giving me a place where all of my energy and my good spirit, my good juju wants to share the knowledge so that so no one else has to take 3 years to learn what I did.
No, thank you. Honestly, I'm more than happy to help however I can. So
I want to say today was a really fun day, by the way, guys. It wasn't just educational. I thought it was really fun.
hell yeah, dude.
You did.
More to come.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
More to come. Thank you for sharing that.
Kimarie, thank you so much for your time and everything you've done for the community. It's amazing.
It's just the beginning, y'all.
Yeah,
it's just
thank
the beginning.
Thank you. And sovereigns create other sovereigns. Leaders create other leaders. Friends create family. Right? That's what we're doing here. We're all related. We just have to remember. And so thanks everybody and much love. And I'll sign off now because we all know I could go on for hours. Okay.
Have a good night. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.